All right, so let's take a look at number 6. So whenever you look at the parallelogram, you want to figure out which property we're going to use. So here we have this acute angle, and its opposite acute angle are the same. And so since I don't have any information here, we can't use that the opposite angles are congruent. And so hopefully you see that these two angles are next to each other. They're touching. We call these consecutive angles. And so remember that consecutive angles add to 180 degrees. So we're just going to write exactly what we just said, that the two angles that are touching, the consecutive angles, add to 180 degrees. So 141x minus 1, that's that first angle, plus 40x is equal to 180 degrees. So since these are on the same side, we can go ahead and combine them. And so 141 plus 40 is 181x minus 1 equals 180. Now we need to move the minus 1 to the other side. So we add 1 to both sides. So this goes away, and we're left with 181x is equal to 181. So now we need to divide both sides by 181. And so we get x equals 1. So now the question said, find the measure of angle F. So angle F is here, and we already talked about angle F being equal to angle D. So angle D, the measure of angle D is going to equal 40x. And now we know x is 1, so it's just going to be 40 times 1, which is just 40. So since D and F are equal, we know that the measure of angle F is equal to 40 degrees. All right, number 7, find the measure of angle H. So first thing you should notice is what's given. And so we have angle E and we have angle G. And so these are opposite angles, and like we talked about before, the opposite angles are equal. So we have 23x plus 3 is equal to 24x minus 1. So now we're going to solve, and so we're going to move this x to the other side. And the reason I chose this one is because it's smaller. And if I move the smaller one, it gives me a better chance of getting a positive answer. So this goes away, and I'm left with 3 on the left side, and 24 minus 3 is just 1x, and I don't need to write the 1. And so now I just need to solve this one. So now I want to move the 1 to the other side. This goes away, and so I get x equals 4. So now, as we get close to our final, a couple things to be aware of. If this were your final, and you looked over here and you saw 4 as an answer, and you shaded in 4, or you circled B for your answer, you'd actually be incorrect, because the question says, find the measure of angle H. So we want to know what angle H is right here. Now notice there's nothing given here about angle F, so we're going to have to use either angle E or G to figure out what H is. So let's go ahead and use G. So the measure of angle G is equal to 24x minus 1. And so we know that x is 4, so 24 times 4 minus 1. And so now you got to do 24 times 4. So off to the side, I'm just going to multiply those together. So 4 times 4 gives us a 16. 4 times 2 is 8. Add the 1 is 96. So that means that 24 times 4 is 96 minus 1 now, which is going to equal 95. So the measure of angle G is 95. So I know that this right here is 95. So this angle right here is 95 degrees. So what do I know about these angles that are touching? So when the angles touch in a parallelogram, we know that they have to add to 180 degrees. So we know that this angle plus 95 has to equal 180 degrees. Now we just gotta minus the 95 from both sides. So our question mark is 85 degrees. So that means the measure of angle H is equal to 85 degrees. So if this were multiple choice, maybe D might be 85, C might be 95, and A might be 1, who knows. So you can kind of see where B came from the X. You can see where C came from because you plugged it into G, and the correct answer would be D. That's important because when you take the high school exit exam, most of the time the wrong answers come from part of the problem. So they kind of make sense sometimes. Alright, so now as we look at number 8, notice we're given these two sides. And remember that the opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal. So we just need to write 3x plus 9 is equal to a 4x plus 4. And so now we just solve it. So again, I'm going to move the smaller number, the 3x. So I'm left with 9 is equal to x plus 4 minus the 4 from both sides. And so I get x equals 5. The question asked us to find LM, so we want to find this side. And so we're just going to take our x and substitute it in. So it's going to be 3 times 5 plus 9. 15 plus 9 is 24. So LM is equal to 24.